What's up everyone, Alex here, and welcome to my little corner of the internet. I just kind of came in here and started recording because something was on my brain that I had to make a video for. Gender charts like this one annoy the crap out of me, and it's like there's no hate to whoever made this chart or whoever makes similar types of charts, but I had a question recently that I put out asking, you know, since we have masculine, feminine, neutral, and then we have like the in-betweens where it's androgynous, neutrem, neutrome. What exists in between, in that very center, in between all of them? Not a mix of them, not the combination of all of them, but just the in-between there, because there's in-betweens of everything. Neutrome being like in between neutral and masculine, and then neutrem, that's my guinea pig, I'm sorry for that, but neutrem is in between neutral and feminine, so there's got to be a name for something that exists between feminine, neutral, and masculine. Like, what would the name of that be? And so many people answered one of two things that absolutely could not fit this definition. A number of people said pangender, which is not the experience of being in between multiple gender qualities, especially only in between the three from the trinary. I was specifically looking for what existed in between the gender trinary, not outside of, not a mix of, in between. And then like so many people said pangender, and I just ran out of, like, I didn't have the patience to respond to every single one to be like, no, that doesn't fit because this and that. So I just kind of put in the replies like, hey, this doesn't fit what I'm looking for, like, at all. It doesn't fit, like, just by definition, pangender is being every gender within your cultural experience. So it can't, it can't just be the gender trinary. Pangender exists outside of that as like every gender. There's more than just masculine, feminine, and neutral. And then a number of people said agender. Agender is the lack of gender identity or being genderless. It depends on the person using that term, but it doesn't go on any kind of gender chart. It doesn't belong on that little gender trinary chart at all. Above it, below it, outside of it, not at all. Because it's a lack of gender identity, it doesn't really go anywhere. Unless you're unless you're making a graph that's like a spectrum from very genderedness and no genderedness. Agender would fall along that spectrum, absolutely, like at absolute zero, but it doesn't, like, agender doesn't go on this gender trinary chart. Like, being in between, that's no. What are we teaching each other? What is going on in this community? I don't want to be like, I know everything and you don't. Like, I really want to make information about gender concepts to be accessible, to easy to understand, and something that you could like share with people, something that like anybody could access for free at all times, and then you can like share it with a friend or a family member who wants to like learn more about specific identities or certain gender concepts, or just about anything, someone's personal story about being non-binary, demi-boy, a transgender man. And I don't know more than other people who share the same gender labels that like with me, like I am not the just like the expert on gender. I don't mean to come off that way, absolutely, but I do get frustrated when I see a lot of things like transmasculine being interchangeable with trans man, treating all trans men as transmasculine, like that's like the word for them. Like, we act like transmasculine is an inclusive term, and then we forget that women can be transmasculine. We call all trans men transmasculine, when those are two different concepts. They may come hand in hand. That's kind of normal, but not everybody who is a trans man is going to be considered transmasculine, and not all transmasculine people are men at all, or have any kind of connection to malehood. So it's really important to make the distinction between gender and gender quality. And I'm seeing a lot of just like, oh, demi boy, that's a masculine gender. What does that mean? What does that mean? It gets tiring. But that's all I had to say. Just anytime you put any sort of gender along a spectrum, on a chart, to make a graph of it, a Venn diagram, there's always going to be exceptions, and it's never going to be inclusive. Never, ever. Like, no matter what. We realized there was a gender binary, and then we extended it to be the gender trinary, and then we realized there's a lot of identities that lie outside of the gender trinary. That has been my hyperfixation. Is that my cat breaking into the office? It is. Okay. My cat's trying to muscle his way into my office. There's more than people are understanding, I guess. It's a mess. Gender is such a mess, and it really doesn't work to make a graph. The only reason I put genders in a graph in any kind of way, or any kind of like infographic thing to explain a gender concept, is literally just to give it a visual and be like, hey, pretend this is this. It's the simplest thing. It really doesn't fully explain it. It's just the simplest way that I could explain this thing. So just pretend this is one thing, and then pretend all these points are like other things in relation to that thing. I've done that before, but I've seen a number. There's that one chart where it's like, it's a weird like it's like a cone, not a triangle. It's like a cone. It's like, oh, you fall somewhere up and down the cone here, but then like you fall somewhere like along the circle part of the cone on the top. So it like has two different versions. It's got the triangle on the side, and then it shows the top of the cone as a circle, and it's like you fall up and down here, and then you might like place the other part of your identity like here to kind of compound it. And even then, there are people who just don't fit that visual, even though there's like 1,000 different combinations that you could place on that kind of chart. It just doesn't work like that. But yeah, I'm pretty annoyed. Like, where did we go that we lost like what it meant to be pangender and what it meant to be agender? Like, what happened while I was gone? Like, I don't know. I stepped away from YouTube for a little bit and started doing like the zine and Gender Buddies, which is done finally. Like, get out of here. I'm done with that crap. And was doing like a number of other things away from YouTube, and then suddenly I come back and like I don't know what happened. Everybody just forgot. But I guess that is what makes what I do important. I'm not going to call myself an educator. I recently had a conversation about this where like, yeah, I know things and I teach people things that I know, firsthand experience, and also things that I've researched, but I am not an educator. I can't really call myself that, but I like to inform people. I like to be informative, and I'm always going to be trying to talk about gender experiences. I'm always going to see what other people's experiences are, so that if I'm explaining a gender concept, I don't want to miss anything, which is why I use a number of different resources. When I'm like explaining gender or talking about gender, I'm looking up all the gender wiki sites, and I'm making sure that like they source their stuff correctly, because I've seen a lot of like they'll define a word and then link to the coining of that word, and the like definition isn't even correct. I've seen that before. So I just like try to make sure that I am educating myself while educating other people. That's all I had to say, I guess. Just gender is flimsy, it's loose, it's flexible. It's a floppy little thing that just can take any kind of form. It got no bones. I'm signing off for now. See you later.